But we got tons of people have tons of questions, so
Yeah.
I think we should get it on.
Let's get it on. For the past 6 months, the questions have lingered and intensified with film lovers all over the globe. What is Cloverfield, and what exactly can we expect to see on 1/18/08? This Friday, all of our questions will be answered as Cloverfield finally hits theaters. Produced by J.J. Abrams and directed by Matt Reeves, this highly anticipated film features a stellar cast of young talents, including our first guest tonight, Lizzy Caplan. Ms. Caplan has been featured in great television series like Smallville, Freaks and Geeks, The Pits, True Calling, and The Class, and hit the big screen in a big way with her outstanding performance in Mean Girls. It is a great pleasure to welcome Lizzy Caplan to our show. Lizzy, are you with us?
I am.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
No problem.
How does this feel? This is like we spoke to before. The anticipation is so intense for this movie, and we're 5 days out. What kind of feeling do you have? Are you just waiting for it to get over with, or
a little bit? I'm a little numb. This is the part that kind of freaks me out more than any of the other parts, like the publicity and trying to get people excited about the movie. And I have to say, though, I think I was the most nervous right after the teaser came out, because that caused everybody to kind of freak out a little bit, and I didn't think we were going to be able to sustain interest for so many months, but they managed to do it, I think, in an effective way. So I've seen the movie a couple times, and I don't know, I think people are going to really dig it.
Okay, can't wait to talk to you about that. But so you guys were actually still in production when the teaser hit? Yeah,
we actually shot that teaser a month before starting actual shooting. And that was, I think, prepped more than the entire film. And so we shot that, and then for the movie we reshot a lot of it, a lot of the party stuff. But yeah, that was like a completely separate entity. Okay, so that feeling kind of once this teaser hit, and people were buzzing all over the place about it, did that feeling kind of permeate the set? Yes, definitely. We weren't entirely sure. I mean, the way that the movie was made was so unlike anything else that I've worked on, so everybody was confused a lot of the time, and there was a lot of running and a lot of takes and a lot of pandemonium. So I think we were just tired more than excited most of the time. Right. Yeah, I can understand that. But so tell me how this part came to you. How were you approached? Was this an audition process, or did they just... There was, but it was an interesting audition process because, as you know, they're very secretive guys, those bad robot boys. And so we went in and we were given pages, but it seemed like it was sort of like a Reality Bites type show or movie. Right. Like just kids trying to get this party together, and they're fighting, and the couple doesn't get along, and it was just a regular seeming film. And so we just did that, and then for the callbacks, we had to be mixed and matched with different actors, and then they just introduced this whole other scene where, so it starts in a party, and we're getting ready for this party, and it's kind of just, normal business. And then the second scene, we were in France and plunging each other's hearts with adrenaline needles, and we had no idea what the movie was about. Nobody had a script, and nobody would tell us. And then after the audition, they would ask what we thought it was about and just laugh and laugh and laugh at our guesses because most people were so far off. And then we found out that the second audition scene was actually from Alias and had nothing to do with the film. Oh, okay. Wow. All right. So I know that Woody Allen only likes to give his actors their particular scenes, but were you given the entire script at a certain point? Yes, but after we signed on. Okay. We were told there was like a brief synopsis of what the film was going to be about, but we weren't allowed to read the script until we were signed on, and it was the first day of rehearsals. So we were all just kind of clustered around this table, reading it quickly, trying to figure out what this movie was about that we were going to be doing for the next couple months. There are movies there are people that say that all stories have basically been told. It's just in the execution of the story that matters. That the particular direction it goes in. Is this movie? Does the kind of secrecy and surprise element, is this important for Cloverfield? At this point, I think that we're just so used to keeping everything a secret that we're still going with that. But yes, I think what people are going to be impressed with is the execution, though, over the actual story, because it is something brand new, execution-wise. And I think that's, you can't really say that about too many films nowadays. that it's something new. And it really, really is, and I think that we pulled that off.
Well, it kind of gives me a sense of, and you know, you can laugh me off, maybe I'm completely off base, but the teaser gives you a feeling of kind of like the post 9/11 view that Spielberg had with War of the Worlds.
Right.
Something similar to that. Is that on the right path of thinking?
We were actually told to watch a lot of the 9/11 YouTube clips that people took with their cameras, and I don't know though. It's not really exploiting 9/11, but I think that there is this. I mean, super unfortunate, obviously, but we do have as a nation like a collective group of images for something like this. If a disaster of this scale were to happen, it wouldn't look unlike 9/11 at times. And I think that, you know, that's obviously a terrible thing that we have those images, but I think that it's very realistic in that during 9/11, everybody had their video cameras out. Everybody was taping everything with their cell phones, and I think we're drawing upon that a lot.
Absolutely, and plus it's something that, you know, especially because you shot this in New York, right? New York
we shot
City?
actually most of it in L.A. and only about a week and a half, 2 weeks in New York.
Oh, I see. But
you won't be able to tell, I promise.
Okay. We'll hold you to that.
What's that?
We'll hold you to that.
Yeah, seriously. I was amazed. Because half there's a big Brooklyn Bridge sequence, and half of that was shot actually on the Brooklyn Bridge, and half was shot in some green screen in San Pedro.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, totally amazing. I don't know how
Wow.
people do that. I have no idea how any of that is done, even after doing this movie.
Well, like you spoke to, the film is shot through the point of view of whoever's holding the video camera. Am I correct in that?
You are correct.
So were the actors actually shooting most of the film, or was it the DP or the camera operators?
We had a few operators that a few got injured, and there was a lot of running around, a lot of heavy equipment falling and constantly. But T.J. Miller, who's one of the actors in the film, who plays the cameraman, he shot a fair amount of it, which is pretty cool, and he got really good at it, actually.
Well, it has to be. You find yourself in. You know, I know that this isn't done at the budget of a Lucas film, but it's obviously a massive kind of undertaking, a massive kind of production with a lot of effects and things of that sort. What does that do for you as an actress to kind of place you in that atmosphere?
Well, another thing I'll say is it definitely looks like it costs a lot more than it costs to make.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
So it looks like New York and it looks more expensive. Those are the two things I can guarantee. I did a little bit of green screen stuff on the show Smallville, but it was on a much smaller scale. And you just get used to it. You get used to being scared of absolutely nothing, of walking around huge Statue of Liberty heads that aren't actually there. And,
right.
I mean, luckily this movie, I think one of the things that it succeeds in doing is it's primarily about the relationships that these people have and, you know, what happens to these relationships in this time of crisis. And for that reason, I think most of our acting was focused very heavily on just, you know, legitimate acting stuff. And as far as the running around and screaming, we did a hell of a lot of that. But,
right.
you know, it was mostly about these relationships.
Well, at the same time, when you're dealing with themes like this, more so than most other genres, the performance is kind of set at a fever pitch, you know, and you have to maintain that. That must be challenging. Yeah,
a lot of running, a lot of crying, and that is difficult to maintain, especially because the way that it's shot is it was so specific in the method in which they shot it to make it look like it was, you know, just some guy holding a camera, but everything was very exact, and so we had to do upwards of 50 takes for everything. So how many times can you really, like, cry your eyes out and scream? And, you know, we had to do it that many times just so the camera would be perfect and catch us, you know, in the corner of the frame instead of right in the middle of the frame. And so a lot of it was kind of figuring out as we went along. Yeah. With J.J. Abrams, was he kind of a constant presence on the set? Is he very hands-on producer-wise? He was very hands-on in the auditioning process and explaining what everything was to us. He was around, you know, a handful of times, but they were actually shooting a pilot at the time, and he was directing that, I believe. So as far as the actual direction of it, that was all Matt Reeves. And what was he like to work with? Matt? Yeah. He was great. I mean, had only done, I think I don't know if he did more than one other movie, but the one other movie that I knew that he did was The Pallbearer.
Yeah, the
sure.
David Schwimmer movie, yeah.
With David Schwimmer, and his next movie is literally two people sitting in a room talking to each other. And he, directed a bunch of Felicities and created Felicity with JJ. So this was the first movie of this scale that he had done, as well as most of us actors, except for, I think, Mike Vogel, who did Poseidon and was used to this kind of business. But so he was running around just as crazy as the rest of us, but he will be an action film director after this movie. I'm pretty positive because he pulled it off. And I think a lot of times, these action directors, they focus so much on the effects and the explosions that they lose a lot of the real character moments. And since he came, I think that they picked him to direct it because he's coming from a place where it's all based on, people sitting in a room talking.
Yeah, and we're seeing right now in our chat room, we had a comment there that said from one of our listeners that they're glad that the movie focuses on relationships, because for all the pyrotechnics and all that kind of stuff, you don't feel anything for that unless you feel for the characters.
Right.
Yeah, and those movies they're orchestrated in such a way that the music is swelling, and when you're supposed to be sad, and there's these huge proclamations like, we're going to get him, and we're going to kill it, and there's absolutely none of that in this movie. There's no music. I think that there's legitimately funny parts and legitimately real moments in it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
that's what I think is the main difference is there is no music. There's no soundtrack for this film, and I think that gives it an edge almost to give it this like reality feel.
Yeah.
You're seeing this as it's happening. We're seeing this almost like we're there right in the middle of it, and I think that gives it a unique edge to every other movie that's come before it.
Totally, and I get really annoyed with the amount of cheesy music that's in films, because I really hate in television shows. It's just annoying to me how you really are told when you're supposed to be sad and when you're supposed to laugh,
right.
and it's pretty obnoxious. But this, you really don't notice that there's no music because it's just non-stop.
That being said, it is really, on the one hand, it is also, I would imagine, a cool monster movie, and we have people in the chat room that you've obviously seen it. The creature, whatever we're talking about, that terrorizes all the cast in New York. Does it live up to the buzz? Is it kind of a revolutionary design creature?
It's a brand new thing. Definitely. Brand new, very big, very scary.
Okay. Well, I got the geek question out of the way. I couldn't.
Yeah, we got that all out of the way. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a monster movie. You won't be disappointed if you're going to see a monster movie.
We have a question from one of your fans. Emailed us. We've been flooded with emails. I'll ask one of these questions here. This is from Samantha, and she wants to know, how are you different from your character Marlena Diamond in Cloverfield?
I think that a lot of us in this film, because so much, I mean, it was all scripted, but we were allowed to go off the page a lot, and a lot of the auditioning process was us just messing around and rehearsing and stuff. And so I think there definitely are aspects of myself that you can see in Marlena, but, I mean, I don't know how I personally would react to an enormous monster terrorizing New York City, but I think I could see myself doing the same type of stuff that she does.
Well, you're given, how much of a chance are you given to really establish your character before the chaos begins? It seems like you're pretty much defining your character in the midst of that chaos.
Yeah, one thing that's really, that I thought was, that they pulled off really well was there's this party scene at the beginning, and I think it's like 15 to 20 minutes long. And in that 15 to 20 minutes of just, as if some guy at a party had a video camera, you really get to know every single one of these characters and what their relationships are with one another and who likes who and who, who's whose brother and all of that. And they do it all in 15 minutes. And my character actually is not in this group of friends. I was just stopping by the party to say hello, and then I get caught with them. So I think that kind of would be pretty tough.
I think you're about to say another word. You can. This is uncensored radio. You can,
oh, really?
You can say whatever you say whatever you'd like.
Okay. I was going to say shitty. But
there you go.
That's all right. You can curse all you want on the show.
Wow.
Movie Geeks is a hardcore show.
We have a question. We have a couple of questions actually in the chat room, but
go ahead.
One question that struck me is, how hard is it to act when there's no monster in front of you? Like, I guess the green screen, the blue screen scenes. Is that hard or?
It's not, ideal, but I think that if you can draw upon your own imagination, then you could make it as scary as you want, whereas if it's some strange, half-built monster coming at you, that could probably be a little comical. So maybe it was beneficial to not actually see it.
Was there another question, Jerry?
There is another question. How much were you and the rest of the cast involved on the internet marketing, the viral marketing of the film, all the videos that have been popping up online recently?
Not at all.
Okay.
Yeah, that was not us. I think we have MySpace pages. Yeah, none of that.
Yeah, someone in the chat room brought that up. Yes. Yeah,
I actually saw the MySpace page for my character, and that wouldn't be like my MySpace page.
Okay, all right.
I want, before you go, I want to ask you about some of your upcoming films, because you have some exciting films coming up, and one of them is called Crossing Over.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a stellar cast. This is Harrison Ford and Sean Penn, Ray Liotta. When can we expect to see this film, and what part do you play in it?
I don't know when that's coming out, actually. It's got to be sometime soon. I thought it was supposed to come out last year, but...
Yeah, me too.
I don't know anything. But I play... It's a series of vignettes, kind of like that movie Crash, but this is focused on the immigration issue.
Right.
And so everybody just has these little storylines that all intersect, sort of, but, people have their own stories. And so I play a Hebrew school teacher who sings a song in Hebrew, which my friends are very much looking forward to.
Yeah. So were you able to perform opposite any of these great cast members?
I worked with Jim Sturgis, who was the lead in that Across the Universe movie.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, he's blowing up, and he's a really, really nice guy and a singer, and that's why he was cast in Across the Universe, and I had to sing with him, and I am not a singer, so that was horrible.
Oh, wow. Well, that's actors constantly face their fears and overcome obstacles,
man. I'm
so there you go.
Sing and dance a lot, and I just have to kind of hold my breath and get through it and try not to cry my eyes out.
I'm sure you did great. And this is a big one right here, My Best Friend's Girl.
Yes.
Tell me about this one. This is September it comes out.
Is that when that comes out? See, you know more than I do. Yeah, that's a movie with Kate Hudson and Dane Cook and Alec Baldwin and Jason Biggs, and it's a romantic comedy.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. What a cast. What people you're working with now. It's incredible.
I know. It's nice to come in like number 15 on the call sheet when there's some famous people above you. It's not bad.
So are you going to try to, I know you have a premiere Wednesday night, I believe, but are you going to watch some with the regular audience over the weekend when this Cloverfield opens?
Yes, I believe that. Well, we have the premiere on Wednesday, and then we all go to New York to do a bunch of stuff there, and we're planning on going opening nights on the 18th somewhere in New York, but one of the local New York cast members will come up with where and when. So that's actually the one that I'm looking forward to the most, seeing it with the real people and not the people that have seen this movie before.
Yeah, the industry. We've talked about this to previous guests. The industry screenings. They're so jaded and they feel like they've seen it all before. But it's really the audience screenings, the regular audience.
True. And for this film, we had, I think they screened it one time for kids, and other than that, it was all family and friend screenings. Nobody has seen it. Normally they do like a series of test screenings and then, change things, but this was only shown to very specific people, and the time that I saw the movie in its entirety, instead of when there were still cartoon X's bouncing around, there was about 12 people in the audience, so it's not really the same thing.
Oh, wow. But I wish you the best of luck on it, and I cannot thank you enough for being with us tonight.
Thank you, guys.